The concrete walls of Blackridge Prison held on to the night's cold, and every footstep echoed through the dimly lit corridors like a warning. Emily Carter, recently assigned to this facility, drew a steady breath as she stepped in for her first night shift. Blackridge wasn't just any prison, it was a place whispered about, a place where stories and secrets lingered longer than the inmates themselves. Emily adjusted the collar of her uniform. She usually didn't mind night duty, but tonight something felt wrong. A quiet, unsettling instinct told her she was being watched. Heavy steel doors clanged shut behind her, their sound vibrating through the structure. Before heading to the monitoring desk, Emily let her eyes scan the cell row. Every cell was dark, except one. Cell 12. A faint yellow light glowed inside, reflecting off the concrete walls. That alone was unusual. All lights were supposed to be turned off at this hour. Emily's steps slowed as she approached. Peering through the bars, she spotted a figure sitting in the shadows. Half his face was swallowed by darkness, yet his eyes were unmistakable. Sharp, calm, and too observant. She frowned slightly. "Your light is still on," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The man rose slowly and stepped toward the bars. He didn't speak at first. He simply looked at her, studying her, almost reading her. Then, in a quiet but controlled voice, he asked, "You're new here, aren't you?" Emily nodded. "Yes, I started this week." He returned to his spot in the corner, but before he did, he added, "This place isn't like the others. People lose something here." A chill slid down Emily's spine. She couldn't tell if he was warning her or trying to get inside her head. Just as she turned to leave, he spoke again. "My name is Adrian." His voice was lower now, nearly a whisper, as if sharing something forbidden. And that's when Emily remembered. She had reviewed the files earlier, but Cell 12's file had stood out. It was almost empty. No listed crime, no documented history, no explanation for his transfer, just his name, and one red-stamped note. Warning, isolation. But why? As Emily walked away from the cell block, the lights suddenly flickered, and the light in Cell 12 shut off by itself. For a brief moment, the entire corridor plunged into darkness. Emily froze. This was only her first night, but whatever secret Blackridge Prison held had already noticed her. Hours had passed since Emily's unsettling encounter with the inmate in Cell 12, yet her thoughts kept circling back to him. Those calm, unreadable eyes, and the strange certainty in his voice. Night at Blackridge was long and unforgiving. The wind rattled against the outer fences, the cold seeping through the concrete like it belonged there. The corridors were quiet, but not the peaceful kind. The kind that felt as if the walls were holding secrets of their own. While reviewing old records at the guard station, Emily noticed something odd. The last entry regarding Cell 12 was from 6 months ago. No updates after that. No notes from guards, no complaints, no incidents, not even routine observations. It was as if no one wanted to acknowledge the man inside that cell. Or worse, as if everyone was avoiding him. Emily frowned. If he were truly dangerous, why keep him in isolation with no documented reason? His file was nearly empty. No listed crime, no past, no explanation for his transfer. Only his name. And that one red-stamped warning. Her thoughts were interrupted by a burst of static from the radio. "Carter, we've received noise reports from Cell 12. Check it out." Emily stiffened. She had just been there hours ago. What kind of noise? As she stepped into the corridor, she heard it. A faint metallic scrape, then a rhythmic tapping, like someone dragging something against the wall, in a pattern. Her pulse quickened. When she reached the cell, the noise abruptly stopped. Cell 12 was pitch dark again, the same way it had been earlier, as if the light only worked when he wanted it to. Emily steadied her voice. Adrian, is everything all right? There was a pause, then a soft shift in the dark. Adrian emerged slowly, stepping toward the bars. His face was clearer this time, but his eyes, they held something heavier, something tired, something knowing. With a low voice, he said, "Someone walks inside these walls." A quiet chill crawled up Emily's back. "That's not possible," she replied. "No one can walk inside the walls of a prison." Adrian tilted his head slightly. "Then why do you hear the sound every night?" Emily blinked. "I've never heard—" "Not every sound makes it to the cameras," he interrupted. "And not every guard reports what they hear." Her chest tightened. Was he hinting that other guards were hiding something? Emily took a careful breath. "What do you know, Adrian?" He exhaled slowly, a sound heavy enough to feel like it carried months of silence. "I know the sound started the night I arrived here." Emily's heartbeat quickened. Adrian's gaze didn't waver as he added, "And it always comes closer, whenever someone new shows up." Emily's instincts screamed for her to step back, yet something rooted her there. Adrian didn't look like he was trying to scare her. He looked like someone who had been living in fear for a long time and had finally found someone who might listen. A sharp voice interrupted from the far end of the corridor. "Carter, you're not supposed to engage with inmates like that." Emily jolted. Adrian didn't move. He simply watched her. As she turned to leave, she heard his final whisper. "Be careful. Not everyone here is who they claim to be." Emily walked away, her footsteps echoing in the dim corridor, but her mind was no longer steady. Adrian wasn't just a silent inmate. He might be the only one who understood what was truly happening inside Blackridge Prison. The rest of Emily's shift dragged on with a weight she couldn't shake. Adrian's words clung to her mind like cold fingers, replaying in her thoughts with every quiet footstep she took through the halls of Blackridge. Someone walks inside these walls. It made no sense, but nothing about Cell 12 made sense. By the time her break arrived, the prison had settled into its eerie midnight stillness. Emily found herself drawn to the archive room, a cramped space stacked with old case files, personnel reports, and transfer documents yellowed by time. She pulled open a drawer labeled Restricted Transfers. Most guards avoided this room. Stories said Blackridge's past was better left untouched. Emily, however, had never been good at ignoring the ache of curiosity. She flipped through names until she froze. There it was, a thin, half-empty folder with a name written in faint ink. Adrian Hale. Her pulse picked up. She opened it. Inside were only two documents, a transfer notice from an unnamed facility, location blacked out, a faded psychological assessment report, with most of the text redacted. Only one line was readable. Subject exhibits acute hyper-awareness, claims to hear structural movement, others cannot. Emily swallowed hard. Hyper-awareness. That could mean trauma. It could also mean hallucinations. Or it could mean something else entirely. Something no one wanted to believe. She flipped the page, and something slipped out from the folder, falling to the floor. A photo. Emily bent to pick it up. It was old, taken years before. A group of guards stood in front of cell block C, smiling stiffly at the camera. But something was wrong. Behind them, in the shadows of the hallway wall, the outline of a figure was visible, almost blending into the concrete. A shape that didn't belong to any guard there. Someone tall, someone blurred, someone who seemed to stand halfway inside the wall itself. Emily's breath caught in her throat. As she stared at the photo, she noticed the date. The same night Adrian was transferred to Blackridge. A shiver ran through her body. A sudden noise behind her made her jump, the sound of a filing cabinet slamming shut by itself. Emily spun around. No one was there. The lights flickered once, twice, and then her radio crackled violently. Carter, report to cell block C immediately. We have movement. Movement. In the same block where the photo was taken. Emily grabbed the picture, stuffed it into her uniform pocket, and hurried toward the corridor. As she turned the corner, the hallway lights dimmed again, as though the building itself were holding its breath. Adrian's voice echoed in her mind. It always comes closer when someone new arrives. A cold certainty struck her. Whatever was happening in Blackridge had started long before she arrived, and someone had tried very hard to bury it. But now, she was already part of it. The prison felt unusually silent that night, too silent for Blackridge. Elena's footsteps echoed softly as she walked down the dim corridor, replaying every detail of her last conversation with Isaac. There was something in his eyes, a truth he wanted to say but couldn't. When she reached her desk in the security office, she stopped. There, placed neatly on top of her files, was a folded piece of paper. No one should be able to leave anything on her desk. No inmate could reach this room. No guard would dare enter without her knowing. Her heartbeat quickened. Slowly, she unfolded the note. You're being watched. Don't trust the cameras. There was no signature, but the handwriting, sharp, precise strokes, was unmistakable. Isaac's. Elena's breath caught. How? His unit was on lockdown. He had no access to pens, paper, or anyone from the outside. Impossible, she whispered. Seconds later, the hallway lights flickered. Then, for a brief moment, just 1 second, all the surveillance monitors froze. When the screens came back, camera D14, Isaac's block, was black. Elena stepped closer, staring at the dead feed, and then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. If you want the truth, meet me by the West Yard gate. Midnight. Her hands trembled. There were only 2 people who knew that place better than anyone else. One of them was Isaac, and the other was the reason Isaac ended up in this prison. Elena closed her eyes for a long moment, drew a breath, and whispered to herself, "All right, I'm going." But even she didn't know if it was courage guiding her, or something dangerously close to love. The wind howled across the empty yard, carrying the metallic scent of rust and cold steel. Midnight struck, and Elena moved silently along the shadows of the west wall, her badge tucked away, her flashlight off. She wasn't supposed to be here, but something told her that tonight would change everything. When she reached the gate, a tall silhouette stepped forward from the darkness. Not Isaac, but Officer Nolan Hale, one of the oldest guards in Blackridge, a man known for his strictness, his discipline, and his obsession with protocol. Elena froze. "What are you doing here, Nolan?" He didn't answer. Instead, he tossed something toward her feet, a small recorder. Elena slowly bent down, pressed play. Isaac's voice filled the air. "Nolan, I know what you did. You framed me. I have proof. And she's getting close to it. If anything happens to her..." Click. The recording ended. Elena looked up sharply. "What is this? Why do you have this?" Nolan's jaw tightened. "You weren't supposed to get involved with him." Elena took a cautious step back. "You set him up." His silence was confirmation. "And now," he said coldly, "you're becoming a problem." Before he could move closer, a shout came from behind the yard wall. "Elena!" She spun around. Isaac. He'd escaped his block. He was breathless, bruised but free, and standing between her and Nolan. Nolan reached for his weapon. Isaac reached for Elena's arm. "Come with me," Isaac said urgently. "I can explain everything, but not here." Elena's heart raced. The alarms would go off any second. Her entire career hung by a thread. So did Isaac's life. She looked between the man she trusted and the man she was beginning to care for far more than she should. Then, a spotlight snapped on. Sirens erupted. Footsteps thundered across the yard. Isaac squeezed her hand. "Elena, choose." And in that moment, with chaos exploding around them, she made her choice. The sirens screamed across the yard, slicing through the darkness like knives, but Elena didn't hear them anymore. All she heard was the pounding of her own heartbeat, and Isaac's voice, low and desperate. "Come with me." She didn't think. She didn't hesitate. She took his hand. In that single moment, her entire world split in two, the life she had always known, and the dangerous, forbidden truth she was running toward. Isaac pulled her into the shadows behind the west wall, just seconds before armed guards flooded the yard. "Elena," he whispered, his breath warm against the cold night air. "There's a maintenance tunnel under the old generator building. If we reach it, I can prove everything. I can show you why I was framed." They slipped along the narrow edge of the wall. Isaac moved with surprising precision for someone who had just escaped confinement. Every turn, every pause, he seemed to know the prison's blind spots better than the guards who patrolled them. "Elena," Isaac said quietly as they crouched behind a storage shed, "once we disappear into that tunnel, you can't go back. They'll think you helped me. They'll come after you, too." She met his eyes, dark, fierce, terrified yet determined. "I made my choice," she whispered. For a second, Isaac just stared at her, as if he couldn't believe she actually meant it. Then he nodded, gripping her hand tighter. They sprinted across the last stretch of open ground, the cold wind biting at their faces. Behind them, a spotlight swung violently, searching for any sign of movement. "Two bodies by the south tower," a guard shouted. Isaac squeezed her hand. "Keep your head down." They dove behind the generator building. He lifted a grate hidden beneath an old metal panel, something only someone who'd explored every inch of this prison would know about. A ladder descended into darkness. "You first," Isaac said. Elena swallowed hard, then climbed down. Isaac followed, sealing the grate above them just as the guard's footsteps thundered past overhead. For a moment they stood there in the pitch-black tunnel, breaths mingling in the darkness. "Elena," Isaac whispered, closer now, "I don't deserve your trust, but I swear I will explain everything." She could hear the tremor in his voice, not fear, but something heavier, something real. "Then start," she said softly. He exhaled. "That recorder Nolan had. It wasn't the only thing he's hiding. And the truth starts long before I ever stepped into this prison." His voice echoed faintly through the narrow tunnel. "And it involves someone you know." The tunnel stretched ahead like a throat of stone, damp and echoing every step. Elena kept close behind Isaac as he guided her through the maze-like passage, his hand brushing the wall as if following invisible markings only he could see. Finally, he stopped beneath a rusted pipe dripping cold water onto the floor. "Elena," he said quietly, "before I tell you the truth, you need to understand something." She crossed her arms. "I'm here, aren't I? Just tell me." Isaac hesitated, really hesitated, as if speaking the next words might crush the last piece of safety they had. Then he said it. "Your brother." Elena's blood turned to ice. "My... what? Isaac, I don't have..." "Yes, you do." His voice echoed sharply off the stone walls. "You have a half-brother, one you were never told about." Her heart hammered painfully. "No, no, that doesn't make any sense. My mother..." "Your mother knew, and Nolan knew, and he used that secret to drag me into all of this." Elena's head spun so violently she had to steady herself against the cold wall. "Isaac, if this is a trick..." He stepped forward, gently taking her hands. "Elena, look at me." His eyes were intense, but not cruel, not manipulative, just honest, terrifyingly honest. "Nolan didn't just frame me," Isaac continued. "He was protecting someone, and that someone is your half-brother, the one responsible for the crime they pinned on me." The cold tunnel suddenly felt suffocating. "What crime exactly?" Elena whispered. Isaac's jaw tightened. The disappearance of a woman named Marcy Delane. Elena froze. That name, she had heard it before. A missing person case from years ago. No body, no suspects. A ghost story in the town's history. "You're saying my half-brother killed her," Elena rasped. Isaac shook his head. "No, I'm saying he was there, and Nolan made sure everything pointed to me instead." Elena stepped away, trying to think, trying to breathe. "And how do you know all this?" Isaac's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because I wasn't always an inmate. Before this, I was an undercover investigator, and my assignment was to infiltrate Nolan's network." Elena's eyes widened. "I was getting close," Isaac said. "Too close. And Nolan panicked. So he erased my identity, forged my file, and made sure I ended up behind bars, permanently." Elena's thoughts tangled into chaos. Her mother, a half-brother she never knew about, a missing woman, a guard she trusted, and a man she barely knew, who might be the only person telling her the truth. She whispered, barely audible, "What was my brother's name?" Isaac swallowed hard. "Elena, I didn't want to tell you like this." "Tell me." A long, heavy silence filled the tunnel. Then Isaac said the name. "Liam Carver." Elena went still. Liam Carver wasn't just anybody. He was the one guard in Blackridge she had trusted since her first day, the one who brought her coffee every morning, the one who advised her, protected her, the one she considered a friend. Her voice broke. "Liam is my brother." Isaac nodded. "And he's the reason you and I are running for our lives." For a long moment, Elena couldn't speak. The tunnel felt colder, narrower, as if the walls themselves were tightening around her. "Liam," she whispered, still unable to accept it. "My Liam? The one who helped me on my first night shift? The one who invited me to his family barbecue last year? That Liam?" Isaac nodded, regret heavy in his eyes. "Elena, I didn't want this to be the way you found out. But the truth has been buried for too long." "No," she backed away. "That can't be true. It just can't." "Elena," she raised a trembling hand, stopping him. "Why would my mother hide something like this? Why would she hide him from me?" Isaac swallowed, his voice low. "Because she didn't want you pulled into the mess he created." Elena felt her throat tighten. Mess. That word echoed in her mind. "Isaac, if Liam is really my brother, why did he never tell me?" Isaac took a deep breath. "Because Nolan warned him. Nolan told him that if he ever revealed the truth, everything about Marcy Delane's disappearance would surface, and he'd go down for it." Elena pressed her palms to her temples, trying to hold herself together. A half-brother, a crime, a cover-up, and all of it hidden right under her nose. She whispered, "What happened to Marcy? Tell me the truth." Isaac hesitated, not because he didn't want to answer, but because the truth carried weight and danger. "She was in the wrong place at the wrong time," he said finally. "She overheard a conversation she wasn't supposed to hear, about money laundering, about illegal transfers happening through Blackridge's off-site accounts." Elena's heart sank. "Nolan found out she knew," Isaac continued. "He confronted her. Liam tried to protect her, but everything spiraled. She ran, and then she disappeared. And I was the one who came too close to finding the real story," he added. "So Nolan did the only thing he could. He erased me." Elena leaned against the cold brick wall, breathing hard. "Nolan framed you. Liam stayed silent. And you were buried alive." Isaac's expression softened, not with self-pity, but with a kind of raw sincerity. "Elena, I didn't expect you to believe me, but I needed you to have the truth." She shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. "And what am I supposed to do with that truth now, Isaac? I've turned my back on my job. I'm in a tunnel under a high-security prison, and every guard up there probably thinks I kidnapped you." Isaac stepped closer. "You're not alone," he said gently. "I won't let anything happen to you. I promise." His voice wrapped around her, not forceful, not manipulative, just steady, grounding. Elena wiped her eyes. "Where does this tunnel lead?" Isaac pointed ahead into the darkness. "To the old processing building outside the main walls. Once we're out, I'll take you somewhere safe, somewhere no one will think to look." She nodded weakly, gathering the last pieces of her courage. "I'm trusting you," she whispered. Isaac's voice softened. "I know, and I won't break that trust." They walked deeper into the tunnel, footsteps echoing together. But neither of them noticed the flicker of movement behind them. A shadow stepping silently down the ladder. Someone had followed them, and he knew this tunnel even better than Isaac did. The tunnel sloped downward, the air growing colder with each step. Water dripped steadily from overhead pipes, echoing like a heartbeat inside the hollow passage. Isaac kept his flashlight low, the narrow beam cutting just enough through the darkness to guide them. Elena followed close, still shaken, still confused, but determined. "Isaac," she whispered, "what happens if we're caught?" He didn't look back. "We won't be. But if we are, Elena," his voice was firm, controlled, "I didn't come this far just to lose you to them." Her chest tightened, not with fear, but something warmer, more dangerous. She forced herself to look forward. She couldn't afford to feel anything right now, not when everything was falling apart. A metal clang echoed behind them. Elena froze. "Did you hear that?" Isaac instantly switched off the flashlight. Darkness swallowed them. He pulled her close, guiding her behind a curve in the tunnel wall. His hand steadied her shoulder, his breath quiet and controlled. Footsteps, slow, measured, too familiar. Isaac leaned close to her ear and whispered a name, one that chilled her to the bone. "Liam." Elena's entire body went cold. "No," she mouthed silently. "He wouldn't follow us here." Isaac's eyes glimmered faintly in the dark. "He knows these tunnels better than anyone." The footsteps grew louder. Isaac slid a small metal object from his pocket, a broken piece of pipe he must have picked up earlier. Not a weapon, but better than nothing. "Elena," he whispered, "stay behind me." The footsteps stopped. Silence thickened around them. Then a calm, almost gentle voice echoed through the tunnel. "Elena, I know you're here." Her heart twisted painfully. Liam, the man she thought she knew, the friend she trusted, the brother she never knew existed. "You shouldn't be with him," Liam continued, his tone strangely soft. "He's dangerous. He's lying to you. Come back with me and we can fix this." Isaac tensed, jaw clenched. Elena whispered, "Don't move, he'll hear us." Too late. Liam spoke again, voice sharper, cold now. "Isaac, I can see your shadow." Isaac exhaled slowly. "We have to move," he murmured. Elena nodded, adrenaline rushing through her veins, but before they could take a single step, a blinding flashlight snapped on directly behind them. Liam's silhouette filled the tunnel, gun drawn. "Elena," he said softly, "step away from him." Isaac shifted, placing himself between them. "Liam," Elena said, her voice trembling, "put the gun down." But Liam's eyes weren't focused on Isaac. They were focused on her. "You're my sister," he said, voice cracking just barely. "I'm not going to let him drag you into this." Elena swallowed hard. "Is it true," she whispered, "about Marcy, about the cover-up, about me?" Liam's jaw tightened. "You weren't supposed to know." That was her answer. The truth, ugly, heavy, settled in her chest. Isaac tightened his grip on the pipe, ready to move. Liam raised the gun. "Elena, I'm begging you," he said, desperation leaking into his voice. "Come with me now, before this gets worse." She stepped closer to Isaac instead. Liam's face twisted in pain, and in that split second of heartbreak, Isaac acted. He lunged. The tunnel exploded into chaos. Isaac hit Liam like a lightning strike. The gunshot exploded through the tunnel, deafening and blinding. The flash lit their faces for a split second. Liam's shock, Isaac's determination, Elena's terror. The bullet ricocheted off the wall, sparks flying. Isaac slammed into Liam, knocking the gun from his hand. It slid across the wet floor with a sharp, metallic scream. "Go, Elena!" Isaac shouted. But she didn't run. She couldn't. Liam recovered fast, faster than she expected. He slammed Isaac against the wall, forearm pressing into Isaac's throat. Isaac choked, struggling to push him off. "Stop!" Elena cried, rushing forward. Liam grabbed her wrist midair, his grip iron-strong. "Elena," he said, voice shaking, "you need to understand, I never wanted to hurt you. Nolan forced everything. Isaac managed to knee Liam in the ribs. Liam let out a pained grunt, but didn't let go of her. Isaac lunged again, pulling Liam off her. The two men crashed onto the tunnel floor, rolling, fists slamming against skin, elbows hitting stone. The narrow space amplified every sound, every breath, every struggle. Isaac pinned Liam for a second. "You lied to her," Isaac growled. "I protected her," Liam snarled back. "By framing me? By killing Marcy?" Liam's eyes flashed with something, anger, fear, guilt. "I didn't kill her." The words echoed through the tunnel, heavy and raw. Isaac froze for half a second. Elena's heart dropped. "Then who did?" she whispered. Liam's expression flickered, dark, haunted. Before he could answer, Isaac shoved him down again. "We don't have time for this," Isaac barked. "He'll stall until the guards find us." As if on cue, a distant alarm began to echo through the pipes, a low, growing siren. Backup was coming. Liam broke free, scrambling toward the gun on the floor. "Elena, stay back," Isaac warned. But she moved faster. She dove for the gun at the exact same moment Liam did. The cold metal scraped her fingertips. Liam's hand grabbed the gun half a second before she could reach it. He rose to his feet, breath heavy, gun trembling in his hand. "Elena," his voice cracked, "don't make me choose between you and the truth." She stepped in front of Isaac instinctively. "Then don't," she whispered. Liam's grip tightened. The sirens grew louder. Their time was running out. "Liam," she said softly, "if you really want to protect me, then tell me who killed Marcy." Liam's eyes filled with something she'd never seen before, raw panic. "I can't," he said. "They'll kill me." "Who?" Isaac demanded. Liam hesitated, then whispered a name so quietly Elena almost missed it. Nolan wasn't working alone. Isaac's eyes widened. Elena's breath caught. Then, a second set of footsteps echoed down the tunnel. Someone else was coming, and this time, it wasn't Liam. The night air outside Ravenhill Prison was cold enough to bite, but Isaac barely felt it. His hand was wrapped around Elena's as they ran through the abandoned service tunnel, their footsteps echoing like distant gunfire. Ahead of them, the tunnel opened to the forest. Behind them, alarms screamed across the prison. Elena stopped for a moment, chest rising and falling. "Isaac, if we go past this point, there's no coming back." He stepped close, lifting her chin gently. "I know, but every second I spent in that place without you already felt like prison. I don't want a life you're not in." Elena's eyes glistened, not with fear, but with something frighteningly close to freedom. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the tunnel entrance. "Elena! Isaac! Stop!" Nolan. He stood with his pistol drawn, flashlight trembling slightly. But something was off. He wasn't calling backup. He wasn't shouting threats. "Don't move," Nolan said, voice low. "If I report this, both of you are done. Elena, think about what you're doing." Elena tightened her grip on Isaac. "I'm already thinking. For once, I'm choosing what I want." A long silence stretched between the three of them, heavy, irreversible. Then, Nolan slowly holstered his gun. "You have 5 minutes," he said quietly. "After that, I radio in a false lead, but after that, you're on your own." Isaac stared. "Why help us?" Nolan looked away, jaw tense. "Because I've seen what that place does to people, and because, Elena, you deserve more than concrete walls." Elena's breath trembled. "Thank you." Nolan didn't answer, just turned and walked back into the darkness. Isaac and Elena stepped into the forest, the night swallowing them whole. The world ahead was uncertain, dangerous, and painfully real. But for the first time, they weren't running from something. They were running towards something, together. As they disappeared into the trees, Isaac whispered, "Wherever this road leads, I'm not letting go." Elena's fingers intertwined with his. "You'd better not." And just like that, two souls shaped by walls, secrets, and impossible choices vanished into the night, not as prisoner and guard, but as something far more dangerous. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for the next mysterious tale, because trust me, this was only the beginning. Stay curious and stay with us.